Paul Nashwaty coming to you live from the show floor at KubeCon Amsterdam 2026. I'm here in the StormForge Cloud Bolt booth with Yasmin. How you doing?
Good to see you. I'm pretty good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. It's been a busy show. Look at the traffic in here is amazing.
It's been awesome.
A lot of traffic. Booth is just popping. This is awesome. But let's talk about cost savings and Kubernetes and all the fun stuff that goes along with it. What's going on at the show?
Yeah, so we've been having a lot of good conversations about how people go from manual right-sizing to automated. And so many people come by the booth and they're like, stop setting requests. Yes, I hate this. I hate doing this. And we're like, oh, perfect. Let me tell you how you can automate it. And so the conversation's really been around what are the obstacles for organizations to actually get those cost savings? So what are the things that hold them back, whether it's developers that have some exceptions in their workloads, or platform engineering teams that are dealing with a large scale and have dynamic workloads and need right recommendation for the right workload. It's been a lot of good conversations.
Yeah, I think it's really important what you're doing because like a lot of organizations, right or wrong, I think it's more wrong, but a lot of organizations will just start up, they spin up things and they just kind of make it all work. And then they go, oh, it's costing too much money. We need to fix this, right? And that right sizing piece is important. Now, if they thought about it ahead of time and did it in the forefront of the exercise, that would be preferred. Would you agree?
Exactly. And I'll ask people, I'll ask them like, oh, how did you set your request? And they're like, well, the developer picked something and so we are stuck with it. And even just what has been coming up a lot today is people that have on-prem clusters and they're like, yeah, we're 80, 90% allocated, but our utilization is single digits. It's a ton of waste, and it's hard to know where to start when you're kind of at those numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. So we had a briefing before this. We talked about a lot of announcements that were happening, a lot of things that I want to touch on some of those key points.
Yeah, so the thing that's been the most popular so far is in-place pod resizing, especially teams that have applications that are sensitive to restarts.
Yeah.
Kubernetes most recent release GA'd in-place pod resizing, so that's our default application behavior now. By default, we'll try to resize in place, and if not, we have failure mechanisms that will either defer it till your next restart or restart immediately, depending on your configurations. So we're very excited about that. Yep. And we've made some improvements to our Kubernetes cost allocation feature, some new kind of out-of-the-box UIs that let people get down to a more granular fashion. We split out network costs, so you can see kind of the different costs within your environment, get down to the container level. And then we launched MCP support too. So now, the native interface to everything now is Ask Flood, and prompt engineering has gotten really big, and we've had a lot of users be like, look, love the UI, love the interface, but I want to operate where I'm kind of doing all my engineering, which is in a lot of these AI tools. So we're excited about that. It also is really fun in a demo to just say like, okay, where's all my waste? And how can I configure this to deploy for this application without having to learn all the different options. So we're excited about that.
No, that's really cool. I mean, I know that during the briefing, there was a whole slide of all these different things, so I know there's a whole lot more to think about there as well. But okay, so from the practitioner's perspective, they can understand the waste, they can understand the usage, they can understand what's going on. From the buyer's perspective, obviously there's a cost impact, right? They want to know, but who's your typical audience that you talk to?
Yeah, so typically we work with the platform engineering team, and the FinOps team has a lot of influence. Where we've seen success is when those teams are aligned, and I have a savings initiative, but I need to make sure I can safely roll out these recommendations. A lot of tools will give you recommendations, but they'll break your workloads when you try and deploy them. So what's important to us is being able to build that trust, because you can only move as fast as the speed of trust. So that's very important to us. So how do you safely reduce waste in your environment and end up saving money to then kind of present back to the business?
Yeah. I love that, moving at the speed of trust. That's really, really cool. All right, so we're at KubeCon in Europe, right? Really exciting. It's right around the corner. We're going to have FinOps X that's coming up. What's going to happen between now and FinOps X?
Yeah, so we have, you mentioned we had a list of features. We're going to have another list of features for FinOps X. I'm excited about that. A lot more on like responsive reliability features, like being able to respond immediately to CPU throttling, not just forecast your needs from a CPU standpoint, but reactively respond when you have things to prevent outages. And we're looking at also optimizing your replica count, so like HPA replicas, and kind of expand our horizontal optimization behavior. And then we have a few other capabilities that really help people gain trust in the system and improve the reliability of their workloads.
Going back to that trust thing, I love it. How's the CloudBolt acquisition going?
It's been great. We have some members of the CloudBolt team, some members of StormForge. We're all one
all
now.
one team.
We don't really differentiate
That's
anymore.
awesome.
It's been almost a year now officially.
Yeah, wow,
So it's
time
super
flies
exciting.
by.
Yeah.
Well, anything you want to leave the audience here that you want to leave them with?
Yeah, I mean, we try and make it very easy to just deploy and get started, so that you can see the savings you need, or see the savings you can get, and then immediately right size. And if anyone can get started today, it's free on one cluster.
Very cool, Yasmin. Thank you for your interview. Thank you, and Paul Nashwati coming to you live from the show floor at KubeCon EU 2026. Hi.